County line is where we're seeing this main area of concern. This is just north of the town of Lancaster. I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here, take you street level. You've got Unity that is right ahead of where we see this area of rotation. So this is where there's radar indicated rotation. We don't have confirmation on this from Storm Spotter or from radar. These have just been broad areas of rotation so far this evening, but tight enough at this point that they are calling that. Oh, thank you, Lisa. We got the movement there. It's 40 miles per hour, so we're going to put some trackers on that. But this is going to be moving right over 200, just to the south there of the Jackson area, tracking really right along your Union and your Lancaster County line. So if we zoom out just a little bit here, we're going to put a tracker on this cell as it works east there at about 40 miles per hour. And we're going to take this all the way to the end of this tornado warning polygon to give a heads up to those of you in the way of this cell. Tradesville out towards Pageland. So Newcut, going to see some impacts here momentarily, just within the next 8 minutes or so. ETA 359. Tradesville going to see impacts closer to 410, 409 there to be exact. Dudley 413, Coburg by 417 and Pageland. If this all holds together, continues at the same speed, working off towards the east, you could see impacts by 421. So we've had a couple of areas rotation, and this one's tightened up enough that the National Weather Service office down towards Columbia has went ahead and issued that tornado warning for this cell that's mainly impacting South Carolina, but it is just to the south of that North Carolina state line, and that's why we're just going ahead and saying if you live out towards Jackson and Union County, that southern sliver of Union County in North Carolina, I would go ahead and just make sure that you are in your safe place as we speak. Let me take this back over to reflectivity, and what that's going to do is going to show us where that rain is, how heavy it's falling as well. And that just continues to track right along the North Carolina and South Carolina state line. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit as well, just give you the big picture here, because we've got some showers and storms that are not only impacting Lancaster County and South Carolina, but stretch all the way down into Chester County. It's mainly along and south and east of I-85 where we're still seeing rain and thunderstorm activity. This is the only active warning that we have in play. And we had some of that heavy rainfall move right over the Charlotte metro. No warnings in place there. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch that's in place. I'll clear out all of the radar here and just show you where we have these watches in place in case you are tuning in for the first time today. We have a severe thunderstorm watch that goes from Burke, Caldwell County, extends all the way down towards I-77 into Iredell, Mecklenburg County, down into Lancaster and Chesterfield counties, and Union County also included in that severe thunderstorm watch. That goes until 8 o'clock, even though our threat's going to be winding up even before then. As we head up towards the mountains, that's where we do have this tornado watch in place until 8 o'clock. Ashe and Watauga County included in that tornado watch. So that's where those watches and those warnings are in place. I'll show you the big picture once again to show you where we're seeing some of these showers and storms. Seeing a little bit of redevelopment right now just to the west of Statesville. That's going to be on either side of the I-40 corridor, but where we have a tornado warning in place, that's going to be in Lancaster County. The time right now is 3:53, and this warning is going to be going all the way until 4:15. So if we do end up seeing a tornado with this storm, certainly there's enough rotation within this storm to prompt that tornado warning from the National Weather Service there in Columbia, but it would be brief. So this is going to go until 4:15. We only have about 20 more minutes left on this tornado warning. A heads up for those of you just to the north of Lancaster, now east of 521, heading out towards Tradesville. This is going to be the main area of concern as we continue through the rest of the evening. Let me look at a couple of radars. I want to show rotation just from a couple of different vantage points right now to get the best look at where this storm could potentially allow for a tornado as we speak. And I do think that this radar out of Columbia has the best look at it. And where you see these brighter shades of red and these brighter shades of green, it's almost pink there, at least showing the potential for some strong, if not damaging, wind gusts moving right over Shiloh Unity Road. This is going to be approaching 522 out towards Saps Crossroads pretty quickly here, but you also have that paired right up against that green. And what that shows us, meteorologist Lisa Villegas and myself, is that we've got rotation within this storm that is capable of producing a tornado. So if you live on Shiloh Unity Road, just to the north of Newcut. Newcut, you need to be in your safe place right now. Again, lowermost part of your home, innermost part of your home, away from any windows, and that's going to be the best place to be as this continues to work eastward. I am joined by meteorologist Lisa Villegas. She's been looking at some of this data and any new updates that you're seeing on your end.
So, Rachel, everything that you've been saying is just what we've been seeing throughout the afternoon. So what we're tracking right now, it's right in here over outside of Newcut. Like Rachel said, take those precautions, get into your safe spot. Now, we have been seeing a little bit of these rotations, these little spin ups here over the last couple of hours. I would not be surprised if we see more of them developing through this line, but here's where we have that tornado warning. If you live in this polygon, including the southern portion of Union County, even though you're not under that tornado warning, I would go ahead and take those precautions. So zooming in this polygon, even if you're a little bit further out towards the east, for example, like Tradesville, you're going to want to make sure that you get to that safe spot. Like Rachel said, it's going to be at the first level of your house, if not the basement interior. Get away from those windows. And because you have a little more time with this track here, like Tradesville over into Dudley, if I were you, if you have a helmet or a pillow, grab it and just take it with you. Now, this is what we're watching. Radar indicated it is moving east-northeast at around 40 miles an hour. So it is quickly moving here, and we've seen that with this line. So Saps Crossroads here at around 4 o'clock. In the next 4 minutes, approaching your area. Tradesville holding together around 4:08. So that's going to be happening in the next 12 minutes. Dudley around 4:12. And then even though this tornado warning is expiring right around 4:15, still watching for areas like Crowsburg and also Pageland holding together as that moves out towards the east. So we do have this polygon in effect for this tornado warning that we've been tracking, and this is why we've issued this first alert weather day, because not only are we seeing the potential for a spin-up tornado right now currently by New Cut, but also watching for the potential for some damaging wind speeds, hail, watching for some localized flooding. We saw significant amounts of flooding yesterday. And as we take a look, this is the reflectivity. So this is the radar and what we're watching, especially the leading edge here with those strong gusty winds. Of course, we've got this tornado warning in effect for the rest of us in Chesterfield County, and Lancaster County. So as this holds together and pushes eastward, like we talked about, quickly moving around 40 to 45 miles an hour out towards the east, watching for those spin ups. So it's not even just limited to the area we're watching that's highlighted for the tornado warning, still watching for that potential, especially as we move a little bit further down towards the south, because that's where we haven't had a whole lot of rain ahead of that particular system. So as we put a track, meteorologist Rachel Colt here, on the leading edge of where we have the potential for those spin ups that we have been seeing here, holding together as this moves eastward. Tradesville, like we talked about, heading your area around 4:06. Pageland, 4:15 once that tornado warning expires, but still watching for that potential here. Kershaw, for example, 4:24 p.m. this evening. And then as we stretch a little bit further south here, like Chesterfield, 4:41, Crossway, right around 5:12. So it is moving quickly out towards the east. Behind it, we are slowly starting to clear up. So even for those who are in that box, even though that system has moved out towards your east, still watching for the potential of more spin up potential there. Here's what we can expect if you are in that polygon for the tornado warning. You're going to want to get to your safe spot. What does that mean? Innermost portion of your house with no windows. Hallway is a great idea. The closet, maybe even the bathroom. And you want to get on the first floor, if not the basement. If you don't have that, of course, it's okay. Just the first floor, anywhere that doesn't have any windows, because you don't want to see anything shattering, right? Because we still have the potential for some strong wind speeds and the potential for some hail. Watching for lightning as well. And as we expand out, you can see areas in the green. That's where we want to go. Stairs, another great spot. And of course, the basement. So that's what we're talking about, where you want to get in those safe spots. We do have that tornado warning if you are just tuning in. So here's the line that we're watching, but this is the polygon outside of Lancaster, stretching on the just western fringe of Chesterfield County. This is where we have seen the potential little spin-ups that are developing. Luckily, they're pretty quick. Rachel, I don't know if we want to look at the velocity real quick to see if we still have that potential. And it does look like something else has just recently popped up, unless they're continuing it or shaving it off a little bit.
With the National Weather Service here and see if there's any updates to that warning.
Perfect. And so this is the area I do want to watch out for. I'm not quite towards the east, which is good because you can see the green and the red here, right? A little bit further out towards the west as that moves eastward. It does look like it is weakening. However, we're still watching for that potential for a spin up, right? And like I mentioned, if you are on the southern portion of Union County here, just south of Jackson, I would take those precautions too, just to be on the safe spot. Next area that we want to watch out for is Tradesville. Not seeing anything with debris, so that's the good news. So Rachel Coulter put that on earlier. So haven't confirmed a tornado, but the potential is there with the radar, and right now just passing through parts of New Cut. So as this moves eastward here, This is going to continue to remain in effect until around 4:15. So for those like Taxall outside of Pageland and Tradesville, if I were you, grab a pillow, grab a helmet, get into that safe spot like we talked about earlier, because you have a little bit of some time before this heads towards you. Of course, if you were right there like New Cut, a little bit further out towards the east, you're going to want to get in that safe spot right now regardless. And this is something that isn't new to us from what we've seen this afternoon. So meteorologist Rachel Coulter and I have been here throughout the afternoon, and we have been continuously seeing these potential spin ups. So it's not just where this tornado warning is. We're still watching for that potential along this line. So as we expand out, that potential will be possible. So still watching for that, even as this moves a little bit further east, because this area right here in Chesterfield County, parts of Richmond County as well, we haven't really tapped into that energy yet. So a lot going on here this afternoon, I should say. The potential for that tornado warning, the potential for more tornadoes will be possible here. Good news is it is quickly moving out towards the east. Do want to send things over to meteorologist Rachel Coulter. Rachel, have you noticed anything with that new update, with a potential new update?
Just continuing that tornado warning, and that will remain in play until 4:15. So if you're tuning in for the first time, we are just getting past that 4 o'clock hour. Want to reset for you and walk through what we're dealing with just within the past 5 to 10 minutes or so. We cut in because a tornado warning was issued for Lancaster County. It's the first warning that we've had at least locally throughout the day so far, though we do have these watches that remain in play for most of the area. Most of us in yellow under that severe thunderstorm watch. That's going to go until 8 o'clock. Our severe threat's going to be winding down from west to east a little bit early, at least locally from that. And then Ashland, Watauga County under that tornado watch. That's also going to go until 8 o'clock tonight. Now, if you're listening in from other areas and maybe pouring at your house, we've got several areas of showers and storms right now, but only one warning. So parts of Chester County and Lancaster County and the northwestern sliver there of Chesterfield County included within this tornado warning that is now in effect until 4:15 this evening. I'll stop the clock here. Pause this in time and point out a couple of areas. We do have some rain right now if you're listening in from the mountains, and even right along the I-40 corridor from Statesville and extending down into Catawba County, southeastern parts of Burke County. We've got some rain, even some heavier downpours there, and we have a lot of thunder and lightning right now in southeastern parts of Union County. Technically speaking, Union County, you're not included within the tornado warning that has been issued for Lancaster County, but I want to zoom in closer once again. We've been talking about how probably just a good idea to make sure that you're in your safe place, as well as Lisa was just pointing out. The lowermost part of your home, the innermost part of your home, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. The most important thing is just getting away from windows. Even if we don't have a confirmed tornado, and this is just strong, if not damaging wind gusts that can knock down trees, that can knock down power lines, and we really want to be as far inside of your home as possible. In southern Union County, we're seeing a lot of lightning, which allows us to see that this storm is intensifying at least over southern parts of Union County, just to the south of Monroe. Even though we don't have that warning in place there, this is more so for Lancaster County and the northwestern sliver there of Chesterfield County. And meteorologist Lisa Villegas again here joining us as well, looking at some of the latest data. Do you have any updates for us?
Yeah, I just want to zoom in and take a look at velocity here, Rachel. So right outside of Caskey, just south of Foster's Crossing, that's where I'm also seeing a little bit potential for some rotation outside of Lancaster right here. So this spot right here. So this is the area that we were watching before, but just watching because like we have been talking about, just the potential for this to develop real quickly and then kind of weaken, because it does look like this rotation's weakening just a little bit as it continues to move eastward. Still want to watch out for that. But this now potential. So as we put a track on that out towards the east, those like Buford right around 420 here, Tradesville holding together around 426 this evening. Now remember, this tornado warning, it remains in effect for at least the next 10 minutes or so. So as that holds together, we could still see the potential for more of these little spin ups. So even though it expires, we still want to watch out for the potential here at 426 for those in Tradesville. Those like Taxall right around 429. Again, that is another little area that we just want to watch out for. Of course, you can see the greens, like that's going to be towards the radar. Everything that's going to be a little brighter. So those pinks that we're watching for the wind speeds, this is going to be away. So when we start to see that, we get the potential for a couplet, a potential for the tornadoes that are popping up. Good news is these are just radar indicated, nothing confirmed right now. But again, that potential right now outside of Caskey. So as we zoom in a little bit, it's probably exiting those like Riverside Road over here to Shiloh Unity Road. That's where we want to watch out for, right along 421. So that's going to be west of, or excuse me, 521. And University of South Carolina, the extension. University of South Carolina in Lancaster. That's what we want to watch out for, because that's where the potential is. So this is where you want to take those precautions, take cover right now. So even though this tornado warning right here, it's kind of slicing this in half, if I were you, I would take those precautions even a little bit further south, like those like Lancaster. And then of course, as this moves eastward, for those who are out by Fork Hill Crossroads, if I were you, grab that pillow, grab that helmet, get into your safe spot. So your safe spot is going to be the interior of your house, first level, if not the basement, hallway, away from windows, bathroom works, closet works, even the stairs. So this is the area that we're watching right now. Again, still holding on until around 4:15. This was the area we were watching before, just seeing some stronger wind speeds right now. But it looks like that potential still popping up across parts of this tornado warning. So we'll watch if that gets extended, but right now in this polygon, that's where we're watching. And then a little bit, like we talked about, a little bit further south. So right along 521, this is where we're happening, just crossing right through Lancaster currently. So Rachel, I'm going to send things over to you. I just wanted to note that part of this tornado warning, and it looks like you also highlighting a couple more areas of concern.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think that's an excellent call, because there's just several areas of rotation that we've been watching, even as these storms have been out towards the Greenville, Spartanburg area, and they've been showing signs of rotation. They would weaken and then they would strengthen again, and then we had enough rotation for the National Weather Service out of Columbia to prompt that tornado warning just about 20 minutes ago, and this does go until 4:15, so just under 10 minutes left with this tornado warning that includes Lancaster County and the northwestern sliver there of Chesterfield County, just south of the North Carolina state line. So if you're listening in from Union County, you've got a lot of heavy rainfall. Let me flip this over now to velocity, and you're going to see a lot of heavy rain. You're going to hear a lot of thunder. We're dealing with more lightning at this point with this storm than we had before, but that part of the storm isn't severe warned. It's really the southern fringe that we've been keeping a really close eye on, with the best chance of rotation. As Lisa mentioned before, it's been more of an untapped area where we haven't seen that shower and thunderstorm activity. You've had more time in the sunshine helping to fuel some of these storms. This is where the ingredients are most favorable, not only for damaging wind gusts, but also for that brief tornado potential that we're dealing with as we speak. This is radar indicated rotation. We haven't seen any confirmation of a tornado from a storm spotter. I haven't seen it on radar either. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over to our debris detector, and I just want to see if there's any change to that. If we're seeing any debris getting lofted up where it matches up with our velocity. So I'm looking at a couple of areas. Let me just look a little bit behind the scenes here, and I'm going to be seeing if there's any area where there's rotation, and also where there's any debris that's at the same spot, and that would indicate to us that maybe there is that tornado on the ground, and I'm not seeing that at this time. However, we are watching several areas right now that we're just going to be keeping a close eye on for eastern parts of Chester County, out towards southern Lancaster County, and extending down into Chesterfield County. Just the way that things stand right now, these are the areas where we have the best chance at dealing with severe weather, at least in the short term period. We'll zoom out a little bit more, and I'll show you that we're still seeing some of these showers out towards even I-40 right now, seeing some downpours just on the south side of I-40, but that is not severe at this time. We also do have a few of these showers that are up mainly out towards the mountain communities. I'll switch radars to show you that, and you can see out towards the west of Boone, down into northern Avery County, also seeing some rain on radar there. That is also not a threat at this time. Our main concern is if you're listening in really from our South Carolina counties. Just to the south and east there, Chester County, York County, you're in the clear. In fact, let me pull up our Rock Hill camera right now, because these same storms were moving over Rock Hill not too long ago. You can still see some of the rain droplets on the lens there, the wet roadways at this time, but it is dry, it is calm. You are in the clear from these particular storms right now in York County. The storm threat has shifted just to the east of you at this time. I'll loop it all in time for you now that we're approaching 4:10, and we have one active warning in our area. Several counties, most of you listening in right now, under a watch of some sort, either a severe thunderstorm watch or a tornado watch, just because our conditions are favorable for severe weather. But where this has really materialized That's going to be in our South Carolina counties, and that's where we have that tornado warning in place as we speak, down towards Lancaster County. Let me go ahead and show you this warning one more time in case you're tuning in for the first time. This is going to go until 4:15. Lancaster County, the main area of concern at this time, but northwestern Chesterfield County also going to see impacts. And I think Lisa made a really good call pointing out a couple of the other areas that we're watching. Let me grab another radar here, and you can see from really along and south of 74, stretching down over the North Carolina state line and down into South Carolina, northern parts of Lancaster County. And then there's this cell that's also in southeastern Chester County. If I flip this over to velocity, let's get a check on where we're seeing some of this. And there's a couple of things I'm noticing. I'm just going to circle all of them for you. We've got that cell over Chester that's showing some broad area of rotation. So heads up Great Falls, heads up I-77. I would not be driving on I-77 right now. 21. Here's your early heads up to avoid traveling on 21 if you live in the Great Falls area. Out towards Lancaster, just to the north of Lancaster, just to the east of the college that we were just talking about. This is now working eastward, and it does look like, Lisa, that initial area of rotation that we were watching when this tornado warning was initially issued about 20 minutes ago or so, starting to pick up in intensity once again, starting to tighten right back up just to the west of Pageland. I'll zoom in a little bit closer. I know you've been looking at some things behind the scenes as well, but if you're in Pageland, I would go ahead and take shelter at this time, right over Tradesville.
Absolutely. So just like Rachel said, remember how we talked about this particular area that we were talking about rotation, Tradesville over in Adelie, right outside of 207 for those in Dudley. Now it looks a little bit stronger. So that's exactly what we've been seeing all afternoon long. The potential for that spin up, and then it weakens, and then it happens right again. So really watching the leading edge of this particular storm right along 9-2 just south of Tradesville. And this looks like Shiloh, Unity Road. This is where we want to watch out for the potential of that tornado. If you are not already, get into your safe spot. Those also over by Crowburg, that's where we want to watch out for the potential. Seeing the brighter colors on your screen with the velocity, this indicates to us some strong wind speeds. And when we see the greens and the yellows, real bright, kind of tight little couplet there, that's what we watch out for when it comes to the potential for that spinning potential, right? Now, this is the tornado warning. That's the line. However, for those like Pageland, let's put that track. It's also, by the way, moving a little eastward around 35 to 40 miles an hour with that new update here. So holding together, still watching for those like Pageland over to Evansville, even those like Hornsboro. And as we stretch all the way out into Ruby, as that holds together right around 4:41 p.m. as this moves eastward relatively quickly, still watching for that. So we're seeing these brighter colors. Would not be surprised if we see more of these spin ups as this moves a little bit further east, really tapping into some of that energy too. And we're watching for a couple areas as well. So that is the continued track. Pageland until around 4:21 p.m., even though it's right outside of this warning, which does officially expire right around 4:15. Also watching for this area too, just to the east of Lancaster. And then, like Rachel pointed out too, little rotation. Wouldn't rule that out. If you're feeling like those wind speeds are kicking up and those winds are howling, I would just get in that safe spot immediately anyways. So two areas that we want to watch out in this polygon, even just outside of it, starting to see some strong wind speeds as well. Those like Hornsboro, if I were you, I would just get in that safe spot. Now, safe spot, where is that? That's going to be first level of your home or the building that you're in, if not the basement, if you can. So highlighted in the green areas, this is where we want to go to. Bathroom, closet, the hallway, anywhere without windows, staircase works. And of course, if you have one, basement is your best bet. Now, if you notice that you're a little bit further outside of those little areas that we're tracking, if you have the time, grab a pillow, grab a helmet, take that with you in your safe spot. But right now, if you can, and if you are definitely in that polygon, just jump to that safe spot right now. However, we talked about that, right? Meteorologist Rachel Coulter pointed out we're still watching the potential for some spin-ups with this line. So as we take a look at the satellite and radar view, this is exiting outside of Mecklenburg, even parts of York, but that leading edge, and this is where we're watching for the potential for some strong wind speeds, hail, a little bit of lightning as well, and those stronger wind speeds and the potential for those spin-ups. So zooming here as we head outside east of Lancaster there and just outside of Tradesville. Still watching as this tornado warning remains in place here. It's currently 4:14 p.m. It should expire right around 4:15, and it looks like it has expired right now, but still want to watch out for the potential of maybe a new tornado warning getting introduced. Of course, there are spots that we are watching, but I do want to send things to the top of our 4 p.m. show, and we'll get you another update on what we can expect later on this evening with meteorologist Rachel Coulter.
WBTV News starts right now with a First Alert Weather Day.
You just heard about that tornado warning expiring in Lancaster and Chesterfield counties just moments ago. It is a First Alert Weather Day in the Carolinas, giving you a live look from Storm 3 out on the roads right now. Our crew headed to Lancaster County as we speak. Thanks for staying with us here first at 4 on this First Alert Weather Day. I'm Siobhan Bryant.
And I'm John Carter. We're going to be bringing you the latest from Lancaster County just as soon as our crews get there.
But right now, let's check back in with meteorologist Rachel Coulter and see the latest on these storms. Rachel.
That's right. Fortunately, no active warning at this time, but there are still several areas that meteorologist Lisa Villegas and myself are watching really closely, and I want to point them out to you. We've got one area that initially prompted that tornado warning in Lancaster County just before 4 o'clock. We were breaking into QC at 3 with that area of rotation that was just to the north of Lancaster. That's now working east of Tradesville. So if you're listening in from Chesterfield County, I would make sure that you can hear and respond to any alerts quickly. Wouldn't hurt to just go ahead and stay inside, get yourself away from any windows. We also have this area that meteorologist Lisa Villegas was just talking about not too long ago. That is working east of Lancaster, and that's just going to continue to push eastward into eastern sections of the county and eventually out towards the same areas that are seeing that initial round of rotation as we speak. And then there's another spot that we've been keeping a close eye on ever since this was impacting areas a little bit closer to the Greenville-Spartanburg area. It's east of I-77, so no longer seeing issues on the interstate, but right along 21 near Great Falls. If you have any family or friends out that way, I'll just make sure no one's trying to get on that road at this time, just in case that storm does end up producing a tornado. We've got several areas of rotation right now. We've got that storm out towards Great Falls, and there's not a lot of lightning with this cell right now. We've got some heavy downpours at this time that extend from 21 all the way up towards Belltown, but you've got where you see those brighter shades of pink right up against the green. What that indicates to us is that we've got rotation within that storm, and it's tightening up just a little bit, which is why we want to give you that early heads up. Another area just to the east there of Lancaster. Meteorologist Lisa Villegas throwing on an ETA here. Let's go ahead and just talk about some ETAs for you. We're going to see Blakely Crossroads. If this does end up producing a tornado or even just some strong, if not damaging wind gusts, could knock down trees, could knock down power lines, that's going to be impacting your area here under 10 minutes by 4:24. Anvil Rock Sea impacts by 4:35, Heath Springs by 4:38, Kershaw by 4:47. So there's still some areas to watch. We have severe thunderstorm watches in place. Tornado watch does encompass a couple of our mountain communities as well. Lots to talk about, and I want to break down that hour-by-hour forecast for you in just a few short minutes.
Rachel, thank you. Now, in light of that past tornado warning, we want to make sure that you're up to date on some important terms.
Yeah, exactly. What is the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning?
Chief Meteorologist Al Conklin is joining us in studio to break it down for you.
Hey, Chief Meteorologist Al Conklin here. With the potential for severe weather coming back to the WBTV viewing area, I thought it'd be a good time to review the difference between a watch and a warning. Think of it in simple terms. A watch means conditions are favorable for severe weather to develop. The ingredients are there, but they haven't come together yet. So in this case, the illustration is that we've got a cheeseburger. Well, actually, we don't have a cheeseburger. We've got a bun, we've got lettuce, tomato, we've got hamburger, we've got all the ingredients, but we don't have the cheeseburger just yet. What we have are all those ingredients coming together, conditions being favorable for severe weather to develop. Now, once severe weather actually develops, then we turn to the warning. That means we've got the finished product here. And what that essentially means when it comes to severe weather is that a tornado has either been spotted by a train spotter on the ground or it's radar indicated. The National Weather Service then pulls the trigger and issues a tornado warning. So again, when you're making a meal, you have the ingredients, but you don't have the finished meal. When you put all those together, you have the finished product, and that's when you get a tornado warning. So again, keep an eye to this because we will have watches and warnings in our viewing area over the next couple of days, and we will keep you posted on this. And don't forget, download the free WBTV First Alert Weather app.
All right, Al, thank you. And watching these storms develop on our First Alert radar right now, all eyes on radar as it has been active for the last couple of hours. First Alert meteorologist Rachel Coulter watching them and tracking everything we need to know here.
And Rachel, you've got an updated forecast right now on these severe storm chances this evening?
That's right. So I first want to walk through where we have the watches that are still in play, and these have been issued since early on this afternoon. Just in case you are tuning in for the first time, we have a tornado watch that's in place for Ashe and Watauga counties. As we just heard from our chief meteorologist, Al Conklin, that's where conditions are favorable for that possibility of not only tornadoes, but damaging wind gusts and hail. And damaging wind gusts and also that potential for some tornadoes possible here where we have this severe thunderstorm watch until 8 o'clock, although I wouldn't be surprised if that was trimmed back a little bit early from west to east, as the main line of concern continues to push south and east with time. In fact, this is satellite and radar right now. You see that severe thunderstorm warning in place south of Columbia. No local warnings are in play. You may be dealing with some heavy rainfall at this time, but we do not have any active warnings. I'll stop the clock here. You can see just to the south of I-40, south and east of Burke County, Catawba County, Iredell County. Just rain, nothing severe at this time with rain over our mountain communities. The main area of concern that we are looking at right now, that is in our southeastern counties, stretching from Lancaster County into Chesterfield County, the far southeastern sliver of Union County and out towards 74 along Wadesboro, out towards Rockingham. So Richmond and Anson counties still dealing with some of these impacts from heavy rainfall and thunderstorms as well. And if we see severe weather going forward from here in the form of damaging wind gusts and even that brief tornado potential, that's where we're going to have the best chance of that. And I do want to take it right back over to velocity. This is what we've been watching so closely, and we're still keeping an eye on a couple of locations. Let's zoom in a little bit closer here, and I'm going to circle them for you where we're watching this. This is going to be just to the west of Great Falls. It's going to push over 21 here very shortly. East of Lancaster, not looking as impressive anymore, so good news there. This little area, at least some gusty winds, but not too concerned about that. Here's the area that was initially prompting that tornado warning that we had for Lancaster County and Chesterfield County not too long ago. That's right over 601. Still bears watching at this time. So we don't have any tight rotation to say the least, but we do have some areas of concern right over Great Falls. It's going to be pushing towards Blakely Crossroads and then eventually Tradesville, Pageland. These are a couple of areas I would just stay in your safe place if you can. Stay off roadways, anything like that. This is all going to eventually push out of the area, so these showers and the storms should be clearing our area by those evening hours. And I'll show you the 7-day forecast real quick. Of course, we're going to keep a close eye on radar for you as well, but you'll notice is that this weekend we do have a few more showers and storms in the forecast. It's not going to be a washout. Most of your weekend will be dry. Can't rule out an isolated gusty storm or two. Temperatures will be topping out around 80 degrees, and then by next week these temperatures soaring into the upper 80s, pretty close to the 90-degree mark.
All right, thanks a lot, Rachel. Of course, while with these severe storms, be sure to download the free WBTV weather app on your mobile device. It's where you'll be able to receive weather alerts and get the latest WBTV weather forecast on the go. So thanks, Rachel. We appreciate that. We're going to keep staying on top of these storms.
And of course, it is a First Alert Weather Day. WBTV will be right back with continuing coverage and your top stories on the other side of the break.